Hey, welcome back to our Bible study Journey with Jesus, where we are going through the Bible chronologically within a year using Tara Lee Cobble's The Bible Recap Plan. We are on day 21 and we are going over Genesis chapter 27 through 29. So, chapter 27 starts with Isaac wanting to give Esau the blessing. He's the firstborn. He should be the heir to the blessing. But we know that God told Rebekah while they were still in their womb that the blessing would really go to Jacob. God told her, 2 nations are in your womb. This is chapter 25, verse 23. 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples from within you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other. The older shall serve the younger. So this goes ahead and tells you that the younger one will be a little more weaker than the first one, where it says the one shall be stronger than the other, and then the older shall serve the younger. So it already tells you that the younger one is going to be over the older one. So Jacob, who was the born second, would be over Esau. And God told Rebekah this. We assume that she told Isaac this. I mean, he would have had to have known. It makes you think that this entire family knew because of the amount of deception that happens here. And so when Isaac is it seems like he's secretly telling Esau this, and Rebekah overhears it, and she's like, no, this is not going to happen. And so Rebekah gets Jacob to go and disguise himself and make him look like Esau, wearing goat skins and Esau's clothes. She's cooking food for him. Like Isaac wanted his favorite foods, and she knew what it was, so she did all this. Jacob goes in there, and Isaac unknowingly gives Jacob the Esau's blessing. But there had to be like some type of deception that was normal in here, because in verse 22, it says, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him. And then he said, in verse 24, he said, are you really my son Esau? And he said, I am. Bring it near to me that I may eat of my son's game and blood. So he was kind of like, okay, well then you're Esau. But the very fact that he's like, are you sure? Because I'm kind of wondering if you're not. And Jacob even looped in, struck me, that Jacob looped in the Lord in his lie. He said, Isaac asked him, but how is it that you have found it so quickly? And he said, because the Lord your God granted me success. If I'm a lie, I don't know if I want to pull the Lord's name into it. I'm not saying you should lie, but I feel like pulling the Lord's name into that's not a good idea. And so it seems like as soon as Isaac is done giving Jacob the blessing, Esau shows up. And he is wailing and crying, and he's upset. But then, and this is what makes you really think that maybe Isaac did know. In verse 33, it says, then Isaac trembled very violently and said, who was it then that hunted game and brought it to me and ate it all? And I ate it all before him, and I have blessed him. Like with him trembling, it has a sense of him being so upset. And we see him finally later on kind of giving in, submitting to God's will. Like him knowing, okay, well, I've tried to circumvent what the Lord is wanting, or what I was told, but the Lord's going to have his way. So him saying that, okay, well, this is going to happen. And like we see all 4 of these family members, right? Like Esau didn't value his birthright. He had already sold it to Jacob. And then we see Jacob being deceiving Isaac from Rebekah, like Rebekah telling him to do these things. And then Isaac even trying to circumvent what the Lord had said. But God was really, truly the only one that could give this blessing. It wasn't even Isaac's to give, because God had given Isaac the blessing. So God is going to have his way. Nothing we do can thwart his plan. But we see Esau so mad, and he vows to kill Jacob. And so Rebekah's like, go to your uncle Laban's, flee this place, go to Laban's, and let him cool off for a while. So Jacob is running to his uncle Laban's in Haran. He stops somewhere in the wilderness to take a nap, to sleep for the night. And then we see that God has a life-changing encounter with him. He gives him a dream, and it's a ladder reaching from earth all the way to heaven. And there's angels going up and down. And then God talks to him. He says, I'm the Lord, the God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land of which you are lying on, I will give to you and your offspring. Your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And in you and your offspring shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And so we see the same verbiage that God has told Abraham and Isaac. And we see that Jacob God has revealed himself to him. The same things that were told to his grandfather and his father are now being told to him, but not in a third-party way. God himself told these things to Jacob. So we see, to mark this huge occasion, Jacob sets up a pillar. And this is to memorialize the place where God made himself known to him, and he calls it Bethel. And this means house of God. And then we get to chapter 29, and Jacob arrives at his uncle Laban's in Haran, where his uncle Laban lives. And on his way, he sees this beautiful woman. Her name's Rachel, and she happens to be Laban's daughter. He offers to work for Laban for 7 years to get Rachel's hand in marriage. And we see a little bit of what Jacob has been guilty of, deception, coming home to roost a little bit, where Laban deceives him whenever it's time to marry Rachel. And instead of Rachel entering his tent, it's Leah. And so now he's bound to Leah and has to work another 7 years just to get Rachel. And as you can imagine, if you have 2 wives, I couldn't imagine having 2 husbands. This creates some tension between Leah and Rachel. And it's almost like God sees Leah's agony, and he allows her to have children and not Rachel at this moment. We will see that Rachel does have children, but at this moment, he opens Leah's womb, and which causes Rachel to in turn be jealous of her because she can have children. And the first 3 of her children, she names them, it's something related to her husband loving her or wanting to be seen. But the 4th child, she names Judah, and that means praise. She praises God for this child. It has nothing to do with her husband or the want of any other man. It is her praising God for this child. And his name is Judah, and that means praise. But this is the line, this is the tribe of Judah that Jesus comes from. And the very fact that she quit pointing the attention and need for attention to a man, but then just praised God for that. I feel like the Lord used that line to be the one that he chose for his child, for the Messiah to come from. What struck me was God using the conflict between these 2 women, the jealousy between these 2 women, to create his nation. And the nation of Israel, this is even before God changes Jacob's name, and him using man's imperfectness, the things that we struggle with, to create his nation, to make his plan happen. It's just further evidence of his sovereignty and his greatness. We'll be back with chapters 30 through 31. Have a good day.